On May 27th, 3:33 a.m., Archangel Michael tried to reach you last night, but something interfered. Check your family first. Don't ignore this. May 27th, 3:33 a.m., a divine timestamp, sacred and strategic. It was not chosen at random. It was marked in the scrolls of the heavens long before time reached your calendar. A holy appointment, sealed by the hand of the Most High, whispered into the timeline of your life. And it was then, at precisely 3:33 a.m., that the veil thinned, the celestial frequencies aligned, and I, Archangel Michael, was dispatched with urgency and fire to deliver a message meant only for your ears, not for the masses, not for the wonders, but for the awakened, for the listening, for the chosen. I came through dream, through whisper, through the sacred tremor in your spirit that stirs when something holy approaches. But I was met with interference, a silence that wasn't holy, a noise that wasn't earthly. Something interrupted the sacred line. A spiritual static, not from your doing, but through something or someone close. Someone in the lineage. Someone trusted. This was not happenstance. This was not coincidence. This was targeted interruption. The divine call was being broadcast to your spirit, and just as it neared, it was muted, drowned by ancestral noise, by unspoken agreements, by inherited distractions. You didn't miss it by fault. You missed it by design. And now heaven sends me again, this time with reinforced light, to ensure the message is delivered with no obstruction. But hear me clearly. This message is not for everyone. It is only for the spiritually sensitive, the spiritually alert, the ones who have felt a holy disturbance but could not name it. If you are reading this with a pounding heart and a stirring soul, then you are among them. You are among the ones whose name is remembered in the courts of heaven. Now listen. Silence is required. Stillness is commanded. Obedience will unlock what was hidden. You must still yourself, not only in body, but in mind and in heart. The voice you were meant to hear still speaks. The path you were meant to see is still unfolding. But it demands your stillness. It demands your spiritual alignment. And most of all, it demands that you check the source of interference. The family line holds secrets, some protective, some disruptive, and it is here that your spirit must investigate. The interference was not from outside the walls, it was from within. You were protected, yes, but you were also paused. And heaven is now giving you the chance to unpause what was holy. This is the moment of recalibration. This is your spiritual second wind. Type I am chosen in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 999 is now surrounding you. Archangel Michael steps forward now. His presence is not gentle today. It is commanding, resting, and drenched in urgency. This is not a message of comfort. This is a trumpet sound in the spirit, a divine alarm echoing through your soul. If you felt the stirring in the hours between 3:00 and 4:00 a.m., if your eyes opened without cause, if your chest tightened with an unexplainable pressure, if your spirit jolted awake, this message is your divine summons. Heaven tried to reach you. I, Archangel Michael, tried to reach you. Before the sun crested the edge of your horizon, the spirit realm was already moving. The throne of heaven had issued a decree, and I was sent as a messenger and a warrior. Your name was mentioned in light. Your moment was marked in fire. At 3:33 a.m., the veil was lifted for a moment, the kind of moment that only comes once in a spiritual cycle. It was the divine's chosen time to speak to you, to reveal something buried, to awaken something dormant, to deliver something sacred. But you did not hear it. You could not see it. Something, or someone, interrupted. You see, divine moments are delicate. They come not in thunder but in whispers. They arrive not with volume but with clarity. But clarity demands silence. And in your atmosphere, silence was stolen. Your spiritual ears, once sharp and alert, were dulled by a force that masqueraded as familiar. The interference was not foreign. It wore the mask of family. It carried the scent of closeness. And so it passed unnoticed at first. But heaven never misses a signal. The attempt did not fail. It was postponed. I have been sent again, now with greater force and with a message reinforced by light and truth. This is your second chance. Heaven is merciful, but heaven is also strategic. This moment is not to be delayed a second time. Still yourself now. Shut the door. Silence the noise. The spiritual static must be broken. Heaven is speaking again, right now. You were never meant to walk in spiritual confusion. You were never meant to miss what was yours by divine appointment. Your destiny was being stirred. Your spirit was being summoned. Your assignment was ready to be revealed. But the line was cut. Not by chance, but by interference. This is your second hearing. Your second wind. If you are reading this now, know this. The heavens waited for you. I, Michael, have watched your name resound in the corridors of divine justice. You were supposed to receive the download last night. But now, heaven is resounding the alarm. You must listen. You must lean in. You must remember that when divine communication is missed, it is often redirected, not erased. What was sent to you is still hovering near you. You can feel it, that pressing in your spirit, that restless ache, that longing for clarity you cannot explain. That is heaven knocking again. Do not ignore it. This is your moment to reclaim what interference tried to steal. The spirit realm is still pulsing. The message is returning. Type I receive IT now in the comments if this resonates. Blessing code 333 is reactivating your divine hearing. There had been static in your spirit, not just in your house. A vibration you could not name. A tension you could not explain. The emotional undercurrent has shifted lately, hasn't it? The air feels heavier. The conversations feel loaded. There are pauses that seem intentional. Dreams that feel encrypted. Smiles that don't reach the eyes. Something is off. You've noticed the missed signs, not just spiritual ones, but earthly ones, too. Forgotten words. Misplaced objects. Emotional distance. Half-truths that come with hollow reassurances. Someone close, very close, has become an unintentional shield, or worse, a deliberate blockage. There is interference, and it is personal. I, Archangel Michael, am not here to stir suspicion. I am here to awaken spiritual precision. You are not imagining this. Your intuition has not lied to you. Heaven confirms what your gut has whispered. You were right to question. You were right to feel unsettled. You are not paranoid. You are prophetic. The dream was supposed to come with clarity, but instead, it came with noise. You were supposed to wake with revelation, but instead, you woke with anxiety. Why? Because something or someone was active in the spirit while you slept. A subtle hand. A distracted presence. A misaligned soul nearby. Interference is not always loud. Sometimes, it is polite. Sometimes, it smiles. Sometimes, it says it loves you while drowning out heaven's voice over your life. Think. Who was around you right before you slept? Who pulled your attention? Who said something that lingered longer than it should have? Heaven is asking you not to accuse, but to observe. Who distracted you right before the sacred hour? Someone near you knows something. Maybe not everything, but something. There's a look they gave you, a question they asked and quickly retracted, a reaction that didn't match the situation. Heaven is revealing. They know something, but not all, and they fear what you might discover if you hear too clearly, see too sharply, discern too deeply. This is not just about emotional tension. It is about spiritual interference. Someone has unknowingly become a gate the enemy is trying to use. They don't even realize it. But your spirit does. It has already noticed. Now your mind must catch up. Your discernment was never broken. It was interrupted. You were born with eyes that see beyond. That's why you were targeted. That's why they tried to shield you, not from harm, but from truth. Heaven says, your eyes are reopening. Your clarity is returning. The disruption was a signal, not a setback. If this message finds you in the middle of emotional confusion and spiritual unrest, know this: you are not losing your way. You are finding your awareness. The spiritual fog is lifting. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving us super thanks with contributions of up to $20. Your kindness helps us bring more powerful content your way. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Type I am anointed in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1516 is now activated. What you are facing is not a coincidence. It is not merely emotional tension or an inconvenient disruption. It is spiritual warfare cloaked in the everyday. This conflict, this interference, this rupture in clarity, it was crafted. It was timed. It was intentional. And I, Archangel Michael, have been dispatched not just as messenger, but as guardian, because this interference is not casual. It is strategic. Understand this truth. You are not under random attack. You are under divine scrutiny, and with scrutiny comes pressure. This moment, the interference at 3:33 a.m., was not simply an accident. It was a targeted spiritual move. It was meant to muffle the frequency of your discernment, to blunt the edge of your clarity, and to leave you stumbling in the dark just as heaven tried to illuminate your path. This is not just about you. It's about your lineage. Your bloodline carries secrets, patterns, agreements, some forged in innocence, some born of ignorance, and some made in spiritual darkness. And now, in your generation, heaven has chosen you to interrupt that cycle. You are the appointed breaker of generational interference. You are the one anointed to sever the silence that has echoed through your family line. The moment I tried to reach you, something in the bloodline rose to block it. Not because it feared you, but because it feared what you would become if you heard correctly. The interference is about discernment, not destruction. They are not trying to end you. They are trying to confuse you. Because when you're confused, you delay. When you delay, you miss divine windows. But I say unto you now, do not panic. Spiritual testing is not a punishment. It is a measurement. Heaven has been watching. The Most High has been observing your response. Will you yield to confusion? Or will you sharpen your awareness? Will you fold in frustration? Or will you rise in discernment? You were chosen to break the cycle, and that makes you dangerous to the pattern. Every delay, every disruption, every sleepless night, every feeling of misalignment, it has all been part of the test. You have not been forgotten. You have been measured. And your measure is revealing a soul that is waking up to its mission. You must shift now from frustration to understanding. From anxiety to awareness. The interference was not sent to destroy you, but to test if your spirit would remember what your ears could not hear. Do not let the confusion win. Do not let the tension convince you it's all in your head. It is not in your head. It is in the heavens. And heaven is responding. Reposition your heart. Heaven is not far. I have been circling your home, guarding the perimeter, ready to strike down the next wave of interference. But your discernment must stay lit. You must not go silent now. This is not about the person. It is about the portal. The enemy used a familiar face because he couldn't get in through the front door. He used the bloodline. He used the patterns. He used history. But now, your awareness is rising, and the cycle will end with you. Type "I am a cycle breaker" in the comments if you receive this message. Lesson code 4747 is now moving through your bloodline. Now hear me clearly. This next part cannot be delayed. There is a window, a brief and sacred space of time, in which your vigilance must rise to meet your calling. If you do not act, the next 72 hours may bring confusion, chaos, or confrontation that you are not emotionally prepared to handle. Heaven is issuing a warning. The interference has not withdrawn. It is simply changing form. This is your alert. I, Archangel Michael, say to you, watch what is said. Watch what is not said. Watch who slips, who stumbles in speech, who reveals more than they intended. The truth is seeping through the cracks. The mask is faltering. A confession is nearing, but it will not come through direct words. It will come through behavior, through energy, through the sudden shift in someone's eyes when they realize you are awakening. You are not being paranoid. You are being prepared. Someone is about to expose themselves, not deliberately, but inevitably. They will say too much, or not enough. They will contradict something they previously claimed, and in that moment, your spirit must be fully awake. Do not react emotionally. Observe. Document. Stay silent in presence, but loud in discernment. Heaven says this clearly. They are not who they claim to be. Look again. The next 72 hours are spiritually volatile. What was once interference will now attempt to escalate, not to destroy, but to distract you from seeing the full picture. Emotional pressure will rise. Conversations may become charged. You may feel sudden waves of fatigue, frustration, or forgetfulness. These are signs of spiritual warfare. Do not surrender your mind to this fog. You are not losing your grip. You are gaining clarity. But with clarity comes confrontation, not with them, but within. You must confront what you've ignored. You must stop making excuses for spiritual static. You must name what has gone named. And you must prepare for what heaven is about to reveal. You have been positioned, not by chance, but by divine orchestration. You were placed in that family, in that relationship, in that environment, because your spiritual DNA carries the authority to reverse what others tolerated. But that same authority attracts resistance. You are being positioned for revelation. But be warned, if you do not stay alert, the interference may strike again, this time more subtly, more emotionally, more spiritually. This is your prophetic briefing. You are in the middle of a divine chessboard. One wrong move could cost clarity. One right move could birth breakthrough. Listen for the Holy Spirit's nudges. Lean into stillness. Watch with wide eyes. And above all, do not confront prematurely. Let truth reveal itself. It always does. Heaven is about to expose what the enemy tried to conceal. You were meant to see clearly. Now is the hour to prove it. Type "I am vigilant" in the comments if this message resonates. Blessing code 1212 now activates divine clarity in your atmosphere. Now that the interference has been identified, and the storm has revealed its shadow, heaven begins to shift you into the secret place, a divine hiding not of isolation, but of insulation. You are not being pulled away. You are being protected. The Most High now places a shield of silence around you, not as punishment, but as strategy. And I, Archangel Michael, declare this to you: be still, for heaven speaks louder when the earth is quiet. This is not your season to confront. This is your season to observe. Do not engage in battles that distract you from divine patterns. Do not chase truth through arguments. Do not try to force the unready to confess. Instead, become still. Let the Spirit interpret what your soul cannot yet comprehend. You are being trained in divine awareness. This next phase requires surgical discernment. You must learn to sit in the tension and let heaven decode the interference. The enemy wants your reaction, but heaven desires your awareness. Your stillness is your weapon. It disarms those who thrive on your confusion. It diffuses the power of those who sought to drain your spiritual sensitivity. You have noticed the shift already. When you are silent, you see more. When you withdraw, you hear clear. This is the paradox of divine protection. It makes you feel isolated so you can become illuminated. You are being led into the quiet for revelation's sake. Do not fear this silence. Do not mistake it for divine absence. The silence is sacred. It is surgical. It is separating you from what no longer aligns, from what cannot go with you, from those who, knowingly or unknowingly, interfered with your awakening. I speak now a strategy from heaven's throne. Document what you observe. Write down the spiritual patterns. Mark the days and hours of emotional shifts. Keep record of dreams, coincidences, sudden memory flashes. You are being given clues, breadcrumbs of divine intelligence. Every dream, every moment of unease, every strange word someone says, it is all part of a coded map. Do not confront. Confer. Do not expose. Understand. You are not called to make a scene. You are called to receive a revelation. Pray differently now. Ask not for protection from enemies, but for discernment of interference. Say this daily: Lord, decode what was blocked. Reveal what was hidden at 3:33 a.m. I receive it without confusion. I hold it without fear. Use this protective affirmation and say it aloud when the pressure rises. I receive what was mine at 3:33 a.m. No interference shall prosper. No manipulation shall prevail. I am covering. I am sealed. I am chosen. In this divine quiet, your spirit will begin to sharpen. The whispers will return. The clarity will increase. And soon, the interference will no longer have power, because your discernment will be too sharp, your atmosphere too guarded, your silence too sacred. If you follow this guidance, the interference will flee. Not because you fought, but because you listened. Heaven wins with stillness, not noise. Type "I am covered" in the comments if this word speaks to your season. Lesson code 8844 is encircling your atmosphere now. You've been through confusion. You've stared into silence. You've walked through spiritual fog. But here is the truth heaven now declares. You are not broken. You are becoming. What felt like a disruption was really a divine disturbance to shake you into awareness. The enemy thought your silence was surrender, but heaven saw it as strategy. And now, I, Archangel Michael, speak this over you. It's time to rise. You are more spiritually powerful than they remember, more anointed than you've been treated, more chosen than they were prepared to accept. The interference came not because you were weak, but because your rise threatened their comfort. Your ascension stirred their apathy. Your awakening ignited their spiritual jealousy. You must remember who you are, not according to the noise around you, but according to the light within you. You have been growing wings in a storm they thought would bury you. What they assumed would silence you has only refined you. Heaven has watched as you withstood the pressure. You endured the interruption. You stayed quiet while spiritual data downloaded into your soul. And now, the shift begins. This is not a pep talk. This is prophetic realignment. It is time to stop shrinking to fit their comfort zones. It is time to stop doubting your discernment just because it makes others nervous. Heaven is not nervous about your calling. Heaven is cheering it. You are not the same person who missed the message at 3:33 a.m. A version of you has evolved. That version of you had been peeled back to reveal the true spiritual warrior you were always meant to be. The interference tried to press you down, but heaven is pressing you up. I say this with divine force. You are being lifted, not left behind. Your presence is a problem to those who feed off control. That's why they tried to mute you. But your voice is returning, stronger, clearer, louder. You will no longer beg for clarity. Clarity is now drawn to you. You will no longer chase alignment. Alignment now aligns itself with your footsteps. Look at yourself again. Not through the lens of fear, but through the mirror of prophecy. You are a rising spiritual authority. Not because of titles or followers or applause, but because you survived what was sent to spiritually assassinate your clarity. Your silence was not weakness. It was war. And you won. Now rise. Reclaim your hearing. Step into your strength. Speak with the fire you've been hiding. Heaven says you are ready. Heaven says you are commissioned. Heaven says the interference had its moment, but that moment has expired. This is your roar returning. This is your oil flowing. This is your name being remembered in the spirit realm. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super thanks with contributions of up to $10. Your kindness helps us bring more powerful content your way. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Type I am rising in the comments if you feel this message. Blessing code 7070 is awakening your mantle now. And now hear me again. Hear me not as one crying out from the clouds, but as one standing in your room, sword drawn, spirit burning. I, Archangel Michael, come with the next revelation. The interruption at 3:33 a.m. was not merely an accident. It was a signal. A spiritual download was sent, pure, divine, encoded in fire and light. And though it did not reach your full awareness, it did not vanish. It hovered. It hovered in the silence. It hovered in the ache. It hovered in the unease you could not name. And now it returns, not weaker, but stronger. Heaven never forgets what it sends. It only waits for your readiness to fully receive. The interruption was not a denial. It was a delay. And heaven allowed it. Not because you were unworthy, but because you were being spiritually prepared. What tried to block you only ended up exposing what was hidden. The interference unveiled what heaven needed you to see. It pulled the curtain back on those who walked beside you with silent resistance. It revealed emotional saboteurs in sacred clothing. It showed you who could not go with you to the next level. This was never punishment. It was preparation. You are stepping into a season where spiritual clarity must be unmatched. You are moving into a space where partial hearing will no longer suffice. Heaven has refined your hearing, sharpened your spirit, tested your discernment, and now the message returns. You must understand, what was sent at 3:33 a.m. was a map, a divine blueprint. It was the clarity to your next move. It was the instruction tied to your assignment. It was your scroll, and though interference paused the reception, it did not stop the delivery. I now bring it again. The scroll opens. The codes align. The message returns. This interruption was heaven's method of maturity. The Most High does not elevate those who do not first prove stillness under pressure. You proved it. You felt the confusion, and still clung to prayer. You sensed the interference, and still leaned into silence. You questioned what you felt, but never denied what you knew deep down. And now, for your endurance, heaven pours out revelation. I reveal to you now. The interference targeted your spirit because the enemy knew something your conscious mind had not yet discovered, that you were about to step into a level of authority that would sever spiritual contracts made generations ago. Your eyes is their reckoning. Your hearing is their dismantling. The message has returned, and this time, it brings with it divine fire. This time, it carries holy acceleration. This time, you will not be stopped. What you were meant to hear is this: your name has been mentioned again in heaven. Not in question, but in confirmation. The Most High is not asking if you're ready. He is declaring it. You are ready. The dream you forgot. The image you only partially recalled. The name that echoed in your spirit. It's all returning now, piece by piece, whisper by whisper, flash by holy flash. What was blocked has been rerouted. What was delayed is being delivered. What was interfered with is now being illuminated. You have been reawakened. Heaven is watching. And I, Michael, stand guard. Nothing shall interfere again. Type "I am awake" in the comments if this message finds you. Blessing code 6363 is unlocking your spiritual memory now. And now, the moment of divine commission. The scroll has returned. The veil has lifted. And the heavens await your response. You are not waiting on heaven. Heaven is waiting on you. Speak it aloud. Even now. Even trembling. Even uncertain. Say it. I accept my assignment. I hear clearly now. For when that word leaves your lips, something shifts. Not just in your home, not just in your atmosphere, but in your bloodline. Something ancient begins to tremble. Something oppressive begins to crack. Because your yes in the spirit begins to shift the natural. You are not just an individual receiving revelation. You are a bloodline redeemer. A cycle breaker, an interference cutter. Your yes is not light. Your yes is fire. Your yes is a war cry to heaven, and a warning to every force that tried to keep you muted. Heaven hears it. Earth feels it. Hell fears it. You are not walking out of this revelation the same. You are walking out activated. There is divine fire in your voice now. Use it wisely. Use it strategically. Speak life into your room. Speak clarity over your children. Speak disruption to the confusion. You are not meant to sit in silence anymore. You are meant to speak what you see and declare what you know. This is not about making noise. It's about releasing heaven. You may feel small. You may feel unsure. But the heavens do not measure strength by volume. They measure it by obedience. And you had obeyed. You stood in the fog. You didn't run when the interference struck. You endured. And now, you are anointed to declare. Everything changes when you speak. The atmosphere knows it. Angels respond to it. Interference fears it. You are no longer under the weight of unspoken wisdom. You are now a mouthpiece for what the divine has shown you. You are marked for motion now. No more standing still. No more spiritual limbo. No more almost clarity. No more waiting for signs. The moment you say yes, heaven says, move. You have been authorized. You have been awakened. You have been commissioned. Rise now. This moment, this sacred hour, is not casual. It is a crossing point. The heavens are watching. The enemy is retreating. And you are rising into purpose. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super thanks with contributions of up to $50. Your kindness helps us bring more powerful content your way. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Type I accept my calling in the comments if you feel this activation. Blessing code 7777 is now releasing divine motion over your assignment. While you slept, the unseen realm did not rest. While your body lay still, your spirit was summoned. While your mind wandered through dreams and shadows, your soul stood before the throne of decision. This is what you must understand. The interference that came at 3:33 a.m. was not merely a personal disturbance. It was the fallout of a spiritual negotiation, a silent exchange that unfolded between light and darkness, between promise and prevention, between what heaven had ordained and what opposition attempted to steal. I, Archangel Michael, watched it. I witnessed it. I guarded it. As the interference tried to veil the message, angels moved into place. Not one, not two, but battalions. Your sleep was not empty. It was charged. It was layered. It was holy. You were surrounded by light, even in the moment of spiritual sabotage. You didn't see it, but heaven saw you. And more importantly, heaven shielded you. There are moments when the human mind cannot fathom what the spirit survives. And this was one of them. The message that was meant for you at 3:33 a.m. was momentarily paused, but it was not lost. It hovered. It circled. It waited. And negotiated. Because heaven does not force what it offers. Heaven waits for readiness, for recognition, for resonance. And in that moment, though your ears could not hear, your spirit agreed. Yes, your spirit responded even while your body slept. That's why the interference failed. Heaven took your silent yes and turned it into motion. That's why the pressure has increased. That's why you felt an unexplainable urgency. That's why certain people have begun to drift away, and others have suddenly drawn near. You are in the middle of a realignment. The spirit realm is not random. It is exact. It doesn't just deal in blessings and blockages. It deals in exchange. While you slept, something holy was retrieved. What the enemy attempted to steal through confusion and distraction has now been recoded and returned to you. The angels are restoring what was routed. Not in the same form, but in a refined, purified, undeniable way. You felt the unrest, that restlessness, that pacing feeling in your soul. Those were spiritual birth pangs. Something was conceived during your interruption, and it is now ready to be born in your revelation. You are not chasing what you lost. You are about to receive what was protected. And I speak this with certainty. You were not forgotten. You were being preserved. You were not bypassed. You were being spiritually buffered. Heaven does not waste its words. What was spoken over you is still alive, still active, still yours. Now, as you read this, know that you are standing in the echo of that midnight exchange. You are feeling the vibrations of what the spirit realm has already decided. It is done. It is sealed. And soon, it will be revealed. You are not behind. You are ahead, spiritually prepared in silence, so that when the release comes, you will not question it. You will recognize it. Your midnight cries were never missed. They were documented, answered, honored, and now activated. Type "I claim my return" in the comments if you receive this. Blessing code 1919 is finalizing what heaven negotiated on your behalf. What interfered with you did not go unnoticed. What tried to mute you, stall you, confuse you, it was not ignored by the heavens. I, Archangel Michael, declare now with fire in my voice and a sword in my hand, justice has been initiated. Divine reversal has begun. Every time you questioned your own clarity, heaven documented it. Every moment you wrestled in silence while others looked on unaware, heaven took note. Every emotional bruise you carried from being misunderstood, misaligned, and mishandled, it was never invisible. What they did, knowingly or unknowingly, is now echoing back toward them. Not out of revenge, but out of divine balance. The scales are not just being reset. They are tipping in your favor. You must know this: heaven is not passive. The Most High is not indifferent. There comes a moment in every spiritually sensitive soul's journey when divine justice begins to thunder through their timeline. This is your moment. Justice is not always loud. Sometimes it's quiet exposure. Sometimes it's peace that confounds your enemies. Sometimes it's opportunity that arrives while they're still plotting confusion. And this is how your reversal will unfold. Those who were spiritual distractions, they will lose access. Those who masked interference as concern, their masks will melt. What they used to stall your purpose will now turn into proof of your assignment. Everything they did to obscure your path will become the stage on which your clarity shines. You won't have to argue. You won't have to explain. God will make it known. Heaven will reveal the truth publicly, not to shame, but to shift. You were hidden for protection, not because you were unqualified. And now, the exposure that comes will not be about you. It will be about God's justice. The very ones who question your anointing will witness your elevation. The very rooms you were excluded from are now being rearranged for your entrance. This is not arrogance. It is restoration. There is a divine reversal happening now. A holy boomerang. A manipulation. Reversed. The interference. Revealed. A delay. Redeemed. God has already begun whispering your name in the places that matter. They didn't block your breakthrough. They highlighted it. They didn't stop your calling. They clarified it. And now rise in this truth. What was meant to hinder you will now herald you. You are stepping into public clarity with heaven's backing. Every lie will be undone. Every plot will be turned. And every word against your awakening will now become a testimony of your endurance. You are not only receiving justice, you are becoming a sign of it. Heaven is making you a living, walking, breathing reversal. When people see you, they'll see what happens when God intervenes. Type "divine justice is mine" in the comments if this word hits your spirit. Blessing code 8282 is bringing reversal into your life now. And now, beloved one, hear these final words, not as a conclusion, but as a commissioning. Not as an ending, but as a sealing. For the message has found its way to you. Through interference, through interruption, through spiritual static and emotional resistance, it has arrived. And this was never by accident. I, Archangel Michael, was sent not merely to inform you, but to seal you. You are not alone. You have never been alone. Even when your sleep was disturbed, even when your dreams felt chaotic, even when the whisper was muffled and the presence felt distant, heaven never stopped speaking. The divine never stopped watching. The angels never stopped circling. You were always on heaven's radar, always under divine surveillance, always within reach of glory. And now, your space is being filled with holy protection. Archangel Michael surrounds you now, not just beside you, but before you, behind you, above and beneath. Your room has become a sanctuary. Your atmosphere, a battleground turned to a blessing ground. The sword is drawn. The interference is shattered. And you are now fully seen, fully heard, fully sealed. You have crossed into a new spiritual dimension. You are no longer just the one who missed the message. You are now the one who reclaimed it, received it, resurrected it. You are no longer under the veil. You are walking in full divine view. Now speak this aloud, wherever you are, with your whole chest, with your whole heart, with unwavering faith and unshakable knowing. I reclaim the message. I rebuke interference. I walk in power. I am chosen. I am awake. I am ready. Let these words rise from your mouth like incense before the throne. Let them thunder in the spirit realm. Let them declare to every watching force, you are no longer available for interference. You are a carrier of divine clarity. You are a vessel of heaven's voice. You are a conduit of revelation. This message found you because you were marked to hear it. Not everyone will understand. Not everyone will believe. But you do. And that is what matters. Now rise. Walk boldly. Speak clearly. Rest deeply. You are protected. You are equipped. You are sealed. The interference is over. A hearing is restored. The assignment is activated. Type I am sealed in the comments if this message has shifted you. Blessing code 1111 now rests upon you like oil from the throne.